Welcome to YMB Movie Talk from your movie podcast. My name is Solomon Mansell, and I'm so happy that you've decided to join me today on episode 18 of my YMB Movie Talk podcast. Now, for those of you who've been watching my podcast recently, you'll know that I've been doing my podcast quite recently. It's one every few days, right? The reason I haven't done a podcast for a while is because I'm back at work full time now. So it's going to be a little bit more infrequent, my podcast. I'm trying to aim to do at least one or two a week. Fingers crossed I can still do that. That's what I'm aiming for. So I'm going to try. I mean, they won't fall on specific days because I work like a schedule, like rotated shift, right? It's not like a set schedule every week. So it changes and differs from week to week. So it'll be on different days, but I'm going to try and at least get one podcast out a week for you guys to keep you up to date with all the latest movie news going on right now. So before we get on to the show, guys, one more little thing. If you want to get any questions answered at the end of the show, we usually basically take questions in, whether it's about a movie or about a trailer, a movie review, anything like that, guys. Send your questions in to the tip link down in the description below. You can see the little link there. If you go to that address, it's in the link. The links to it is down in the description down below. You can go there, guys, and leave a tip for as little as £1. Leave any question that you want to regarding the world of film, and you will get it answered at the end of the show. So make sure you do that, guys. Also, if you prefer to listen to the audio-only versions of my podcast, you can find them also in the link in the description down below. If you're watching this live on YouTube, that's for my Spotify and my SoundCloud account, so you can catch up with all the podcast episodes. They're all on there. The individual clips that I put up on YouTube won't be on those, but that's just the full podcast episodes if you prefer to listen to them in audio version. Right, guys. I'm so excited to be back, guys. I hope you're all doing really well. I am. Like I said, it's my first week back at work, so I'm kind of tired. I feel shattered. It takes it out of you a lot. Like, I work at McDonald's. Like I've mentioned this before. I work at McDonald's, and I love my job, but it's just very, very tiring. That first week back, it can really take it out of you because you're just on your feet all day. You do things like delivery. It's just very, very tiring. So even though I do enjoy it, for that first week back, it's a bit of a hit. I'm not gonna lie. But I do like it there, and obviously it gives me the opportunity to fund this podcast and do all the other things that I do in my life. So I'm very happy that I'm back at work, but also very sad because obviously I can't do the podcast as much as I would probably have liked to. But I'm going to still obviously try and do it as regular as possible, like I said, once a week. So getting on to the show today, guys, I'm so excited to talk movies again. It feels like it's been ages. It's only been like a week, but it feels like it's been so long. So getting on to the first topic today, guys, that I want to talk about. And the first topic today is talking about a massive, massive piece of movie news that was released sometime last week. So obviously, because I haven't done a podcast for a while, this is kind of catch up, right? We're talking about all the latest movie news over the past week or so. This is one of the biggest deals. This is one of the biggest movie news pieces that have come out in the past week. And that is about Netflix and Sony Pictures, right? They have gone into partnership with each other. Sony has signed a massive $1 billion streaming deal with Netflix to distribute their films through their streaming service, Netflix. This is huge, guys, because obviously Sony Pictures, one of the most recognizable, reputable movie studios in the world, right? They have a lot of movie licenses that we all like James Bond, Spider-Man. They have a lot going on, right? They have all their animation department. And obviously, Sony Pictures, they kind of just get distributed wherever. They don't have really an exclusive streaming service. It's not like Disney, which have Disney Plus, or Warner Brothers that have HBO Max. Sony haven't got that, right? So for them, this is a big deal because they go through Netflix. This is also a massive piece of movie news because this really, really influences a lot of the releases of upcoming films that we're going to get in the next few years. Because obviously, Sony Pictures, they have a lot of films coming out over the next few years, guys. This doesn't go into effect right now. This basically, at the moment, Sony release some of their films online through the what's it called? It's a streaming service for Sony. I think it's called Stars or Stars Plays or something like that. Yeah, it's called Stars, right? So most of the Sony films was kept on Stars. So this won't go into effect until next year. But obviously that means a lot of upcoming films that are coming out next year are going to be releasing exclusively on Netflix when they hit streaming services. So there's a couple of films, guys, that this is going to impact, and I just want to go through these films here and get your opinion on these films that are coming out. There's Escape Room 2, which is directed by Adam Robitel. I haven't really seen the first one. Apparently the first one's quite good. I haven't actually seen it, so I can't really speak much on that one. There's Morbius, which is a film that I'm very much excited for. This film's been pushed back, it feels like, so many times at this point. But there is the Morbius film coming out, which stars Jared Leto. There's Michael Keaton's going to appear in it as well. So it's kind of connected to the Tom Holland Spider-Man series, but it's kind of like its own thing as well. So it's going to be interesting to see how that kind of interconnects with each other, how it kind of links into the Venom film, right? How it kind of all connects to each other. I'm looking forward to that. So there's Morbius that will be released through this deal. That comes out in October next year on Netflix. So this is going to be like, it's a way away, but it's definitely coming through pretty soon. There's also the very, very highly anticipated and long-awaited Uncharted film directed by Ruben Fleischer, obviously the director of Zombieland. He directed Venom. He directed Zombieland 2. He's done a lot of things. And he is obviously the director of the upcoming Uncharted film starring Tom Holland and Mark Wahlberg. Like I said before, this film has been in the works. It seems like forever. Right? For those of you who have been keeping tabs of this Uncharted film is a film that's been kind of in the works for a solid 10 years now. So it's been going around for a very, very long time. And it seems as though everything's going quite smoothly with it now. And we're actually got a release date. It's coming out in February in 2022 in theatres, in cinemas. And then it gets its streaming release date in November 2022. So that will be releasing exclusively onto Netflix. So if you don't want to watch it in the cinemas and you want to watch it at home, you'll have to have Netflix to watch this Uncharted film, which is, I know, a very anticipated film for a lot of people. There's also the Spider-Man Into the Spider-Verse sequel, which is coming. That this is going to be obviously a very, very highly anticipated film. The original film, I think it won Best Picture, didn't it? Best Animated Film, sorry. So a very, very beloved film. I like it personally myself. That will be released in 2023 in July on Netflix as well. I Want to Dance with Somebody, which is a Whitney Houston biopic, so that I'm going to be looking forward to that. My mum loves Whitney Houston, so we had a lot of Whitney Houston playing in our house when we grew up, so I've been looking forward to see that. There's the Nightingale. It's starring Dakota and Elle Fanning, so they're two very, very brilliant actresses, and to see them both on screen together is going to be very interesting. There's also a few undated movies coming to Netflix. So these don't actually have official release dates yet for Netflix, but there are films that are going to be released during this exclusive deal. There is a film called 65, which is a sci-fi thriller written by the screenwriters of A Quiet Place. So, well, it's actually been directed, it's been directed by the writers of A Quiet Place. So this is going to be interesting to see. Also, Sam Raimi is one of the executive producers, so that's also going to be very interesting. Obviously, he's a brilliant director and producer himself. Adam Driver's also starring in the film in the lead, so that's going to be interesting. There's Bullet Train, Journal for Jordan, Masters of the Universe, which again a very, very long-awaited film based on the very popular He-Man series from the 80s. So that'll be interesting. Jumanji 4 will also be part of this deal. Obviously, the Jumanji series has took a huge rebirth in the last few years with The Rock and Kevin Hart kind of leading that charge. And it's one of the most successful film franchises around right now. So it makes sense that they're doing a fourth one, and it will be released exclusively on Netflix in the near future when it comes to that home video release. There's also a lot of other pictures in development at Sony Pictures, so I just want to go through these. There's a film called Adulting, there's Bad Boys 4, Beautiful, Bloodshot 2, which is the sequel to the Vin Diesel sci-fi action film from a few years ago, a film called Bubble, Constance, Crossfire, The Crow Reborn, which is a reboot of the Brandon Lee Crow film from the mid-90s, which obviously is a massive cult film. Obviously infamous for what happened with Brandon Lee, but that's getting a reboot, so that will come exclusively onto Netflix as well. There's also The Days the Crayons Quit, Fixed, which is an adult comedy. It's going to be interesting. Harold and the Purple Crayon, The Hazel Wood, Homecoming, Just Dance, Craven the Hunter. So this is going to be very interesting because obviously this expands that Spider-Man universe that Sony really want to get going. All the spin-offs that they've been doing with Venom and Morbius, and that kind of continues now with the upcoming Craven the Hunter film. Metal Gear Solid, obviously based on the very, very popular action game, the action video game series from Konami. Obviously, most people know it's that very highly intense stealth game, which I hate stealth games, but I love Metal Gear Solid. So that'll be interesting. See, Oscar Isaac is also in that, so that's going to be interesting. There's a film called Motherfucker, which I don't know anything about that. There's a film called Nothing to See Here, Once Upon One More Time. There we go. Okay, that's interesting. The Pope's Exorcist. Okay, that sounds weird. Sicario Capos. This is the third installment in the Sicario series, which has been very, very successful, right? They had Sicario, and then we had the Emily Blunt spin-off a few years ago, the sequel to that. So that came out. That was very well received. So we're getting the sequel to that. Silk, which is another Spider-Man spin-off. So basically, this, it says on here, it's a Spider-Man spin-off centered around the character of Silk, a fellow web-slinger who was bitten by the same radioactive spider as Peter Parker. So that's going to be interesting. I don't know anything about the character of Silk. I've never heard that character ever before. So that's interesting. I don't know much about that, but that's coming to Netflix as part of this deal as well. Skander and the Unicorn Thief, Spider-Woman, again, another Spider-Man spin-off. Tau, Taught Urban Legend, Watch Dogs, another video game adaptation, and a film called We're Not From Here. So there is a lot of films as part of this deal. So Netflix, I think, have made a brilliant business move here. If we really want to evaluate this, this is a fantastic business move from Netflix. Right, it's a $1 billion deal that they've got with Sony Pictures to distribute their films exclusively when it comes to streaming services, right? So it'll be streamed exclusively on Netflix, nowhere else. Their films won't be on like a Now TV or a Disney Plus, because people was expecting kind of the Spider-Man films to appear on Disney Plus because of the whole MCU link. They won't be on there, unfortunately. They will only be on Netflix. So we get all of these films, and you've got to imagine, this is a fantastic deal for Netflix. This is such a fantastic deal. You're getting all these properties for about $1 billion for their streaming services. But you've got to imagine how much traction this will get for Netflix. You get all the Spider-Man spin-offs. You get all the video game adaptations. You get all these original films. You get the horrors. You get the dramas, the biopics. All of these films that people are very much looking forward to. I'm one of them. I'm looking forward to a lot of the films on that list. Netflix have struck gold, I think, with this. And look, I think it's going to help Sony. Sony have been a film studio that a couple of years ago was very, very close to closing down. Sony were going to sell all their film assets and just focus on their kind of media production, their video game production and their phones, and so they weren't really going to focus on their film division. So to see them go from almost like going out of business as far as their film production studios go, to go from that to this is fantastic for Sony, and it gives them, a bit of solidity moving forward as well. And it'll be interesting, obviously, to see if this deal will continue in the future. I'm excited to see this. I'm not a huge Netflix fan, I have to admit. Over in the UK, I think, look, Netflix is very, very underwhelming for me. They have a lot of original content, but I think the original content on there is quite poor. Some of the stuff that they have got from other studios that they kind of distribute exclusively for those studios aren't really worth the money that you're paying. I know the US Netflix is really good, but over in the UK, it's literally stripped to its bare bones. So it's good to see that there's going to be more exclusive content coming to Netflix that is actually going to be of a decent quality and a lot more of an interest for a lot of people, including myself. So I'm looking forward to that, guys. Let me know what you guys think about this. What do you think about this Netflix and Sony Pictures deal? Do you think it's good? Do you think Sony are maybe making a mistake doing the whole Netflix route? Do you think they probably should have set up their own streaming service like what Disney have done? Let me know, guys, in the live chat, and we'll have a little discussion about that at the end of the show. Right, getting on to topic number 2 today, guys. And topic number 2 is discussing a little bit of news that came out as well, I think, last week. The upcoming Black Widow film, which, again, this film just seems to have just been... We've been waiting for this film forever, right? It seems like that, right? This film is finally got a release date, right? There was that trailer the other day, the other week, which looked incredible. I loved the most recent trailer for Black Widow. In my opinion, it was better than any other trailer that we've got so far. Really kind of built the anticipation level for me, right? I did discuss it on a previous podcast. If you want to watch me talk about that trailer more in depth, go to the playlist on my YouTube channel. You'll find me discussing that as well as a host of other bits of movie news from the podcast episodes. But I love that trailer, and it has got a release date. I think it's coming out in July, right? I think it's coming out July this year. It's going to do a simultaneous release both in cinemas and on Disney Plus Premier Access. So it's getting these 2 release dates. The only thing is that for a long time, this film has been it's been tracking very underwhelmingly by Marvel standards, right? It hasn't got the same kind of attention that other films have got. People's interest in it have been quite low. I think that hasn't been helped by the trailers. I think for some people, they've been a bit confused. Like, look, this character's dead. Why are we going to watch this film? Like, is it set before? Is it set after? Is she alive now? Like, I think for a lot of the general movie audience, it can be a bit confusing. So I think that's struggling to track. But due to this new trailer and the recent push that Disney have been giving Black Widow, the box office expectations have tripled over the past few weeks. Now, obviously, this is helped due to the constant delays that we've got. So I think that helps to build up anticipation also. All these box office projections so far for Black Widow have been slightly underwhelming. We come out of this recent lockdown. They dropped this new trailer. The box office expectations are really, really high for Black Widow. I think currently, I'm not too sure what it's tracking. I can't actually remember. I did see on Variety when it was written and when it was announced, but I can't remember what it was. I'll just check this for you now, guys, so you get the information for this. Let's have a little look here. Let's go to Variety and let's check this out. Right, so Black Widow was originally going to be released last May. That was the original release date for Black Widow. That's what the film was originally going to track for. Where now the film has been projected to, the film was originally projecting to bring in $45 million at the American US domestic box office, right? Very, very low by Marvel standards. Very, very low by a big film, by any studio, right? So it's gone from $45 million. It's now tracking to $170 million for its opening weekend. Oh my God. That's insane. I didn't realise they was expecting the box office to be that high. Wow. So to go from $45 million last year, very, very underwhelming box office, right? Box office that is very, very poor by many studio standards. To go from $45 million to $170 million for Black Widow, look, that's huge. That is huge. Now, I don't know if that is going to, if that involves the Premier Access on Disney Plus, because if that's the case, that kind of gets rolled into one then, right? But if that's just straight box office, like theatrical release box office, that is massive. That could be probably one of the biggest opening weekends of the year for Black Widow. That's huge. And I think for a film that's, look, I think for a lot of people, Black Widow is a film that a lot of people have been waiting for, but it's not what Iron Man 3 was when Iron Man 3 was released, or like a Civil War or an Avengers film. It's not that type of film. It's going to be a lot more smaller scale, a lot more of a character-driven story. But if anything, it just shows you the love that people have for this character, right? This is a film that people have been asking for years now. It's a film that people have been clamouring for the longest time, right? I remember them being talks about a Black Widow film back in like 2014, 2015. So this is something that's been going around for years now, this whole Black Widow thing. People have been asking and clamouring for it. People wanted a Black Widow film in Phase 3. Didn't happen. We're now getting it to start and kick off Phase 4. And I'm excited for it. Like I said, previous to the trailer, I wasn't really expecting much from this film. My expectations, they were really high. And judging by the massive box office projections and the massive increase from last year, I think a lot of other people are on the same trajectory that I am when it comes to Black Widow. So that's huge, guys. So, let me know, guys, what do you think of the box office projections for Black Widow? Do you think it will reach that $170 million opening weekend? I don't know if it'll track that high. I don't know if it'll hit 170. Look, we're still in a COVID environment. Like, Godzilla vs. Kong released very limited and did very well. Right, I think it made like $40 or $45 million opening weekend, which is huge, considering it was only limited release, right? I mean, that's what Godzilla King of the Monsters made during its opening weekend. Like, that was a full release as well. Like, in like, I think it was over 4,000 cinemas at the same time. So that's huge for Black Widow. I'm looking forward to it. I think it might probably reach just underneath that. I think, look, if they can get anywhere near 120, between 120 and 150, that's a massive win. If they get 170, that's incredible for Black Widow. That's huge for Black Widow. So, I think it could happen. I think it probably is looking like it probably will happen. But let me know, guys, what are your thoughts on that? Leave them in the live chat, and we'll have a little discussion about that at the end of the show. Right, and if you've noticed, I keep jostling and moving around if you're watching this live on YouTube. I keep jostling around. It's because I'm still on my mattress in the baby room. We haven't got the house set up yet, but by the next podcast, I'm not too sure when it's going to be. I'm aiming for probably Wednesday or Thursday next week. I guarantee you, by that podcast, I will be out of here and we will be sorted. We'll have carpet by then and everything. So the house will be a bit more sorted then. And I can actually do a podcast sitting down properly. It'll be nice rather than sitting on this mattress. It kills my knees and my back. So if you see me shuffling around a little bit, that's the reason why. I do apologise for that. Also, guys, like I said at the start of the podcast, if you want any questions answered on YMB Movie Talk about anything involving the world of movies, whether it be a movie review or a certain topic that you want to discuss that's been announced over the past few days, make sure to leave it in the tip link down below. There's a link in the description for my tip link. Basically, go into that, leave as little as £1. It doesn't matter what it is about anything involving the world of film or this podcast or anything that you want to ask me. Make sure to leave it in the tip link down below in the description. If you're leaving it in the live chat, I won't be able to answer it. That I just want to leave for just general discussion between people who are watching the podcast. If you want any questions answered, make sure you send it to the tip link down below, guys. Thank you very much for that. Right, getting on to the next topic today, guys. And the next topic is talking about the new Fast and Furious 9 trailer. Oh, I'm excited to talk about this. I watched this today. I know this was released, I think, 2 days ago. But I've watched it today. This morning, actually, I watched it. And oh my God, I love this trailer. Oh my God, I love this trailer. This is the perfect trailer for this film. I think the past few trailers, in my opinion, have felt like they're taking themselves a little bit too seriously. I think. Fast and Furious, let's just be honest, it's at its best when it's a cheesy, over-the-top, wild, crazy, out there action blockbuster. That's when Fast and Furious is at its best, in my opinion. Over the top, unrealistic action nonsense. That's when it's at its best. And I think this trailer captures that perfectly. It's that perfect blend of like over the top action. It has the feeling of the previous films. It follows a very similar trend in that sense of kind of someone related to the main characters coming back into their life and kind of messing their life up a little bit, and they have to kind of deal with that. Again, playing on the themes of family, with John Cena's character being the brother to Dominic Toretto, which is Vin Diesel's character in the film. But this trailer is brilliant. That opening scene, which we get more of, it's been shown previously in other trailers. But the opening scene in this trailer really focuses more on John Cena. We get more of his character. Obviously, he's the main villain of the film, which is really jarring because, to those of you who don't know, I'm a huge wrestling fan. Well, I was when I was growing up. I don't really follow it as much now, but I was a huge wrestling fan when I was growing up. So to see John Cena be like this really stern, serious bad guy is just really bizarre to see. It's really bizarre, and especially seeing John Cena with hair. It's just so weird to see John Cena with hair. Like, if you'll know what I mean. If those of you who follow MMA, if you've seen GSP recently, he was on Joe Rogan's podcast the other day, and he had hair. Like, there's just certain people who shouldn't have like hair. It just doesn't look right. It just looks weird. And John Cena is one of those people, as is GSP as well. He just didn't look like GSP, but. John Cena just didn't look like John Cena. It's weird seeing him with hair. But look, he looks like he's going to be a load of fun in this film. Obviously, Furious 9 is a film that should have come out like 2 years ago or a year ago now. Right? The first trailer was released, I think, about a year and a half ago. Obviously, but due to COVID, it's been pushed back. But I'm very much looking forward to see this. It has a little bit of humour in there. I like Tyrese and Ludacris there. Chemistry's always been one of my favourite aspects of the later kind of the last half of the Fast and Furious series. Their relationship with each other is fantastic. We get more of the character of Han back in this film as well. We get a little bit more of him in this trailer. I'm interested in this film. I'm not gonna lie. Look, as much as I love a good serious drama or a really deep biopic, I have a soft spot for just dumb, ridiculous action films. And I don't think many do it as good as the Fast and Furious films. That scene where they jump off the bridge and like Dom gets like the rope or like the chain or something attached to his wheel of his car, and it swings him around the like canyon, around that mountain, and it swings him onto the. It's just so stupid. And obviously the car settles. They haven't got a scratch on them. Like, look, if you're coming into this film expecting grounded reality, you will be very, very shocked and disappointed. Because that's not what Furious 9 will give you. But I think, look, if you're looking for fun, I don't think you're going to go much further than Fast and Furious 9. I'm really looking forward to it. This trailer's really cemented my expectations, really cemented my anticipation for this film. I'm looking forward to it. I'll definitely go and see it when it gets released later this year. I'm looking forward to it. Are you guys looking forward to it, guys? Leave that in the live chat and we'll have a little discussion about Furious 9 later in the show if you'd wish to. Right, getting on to topic number 4 today, and it's more Shazam casting news. This film is really building its cast up now. Obviously, previously we've talked about Helen Mirren being cast in this film. We've talked about the possibility of The Rock appearing as Shazam also. That's a very strong possibility. And now it has been confirmed that we are getting Lucy Liu in as one of the main villains for Shazam 2. Now, Lucy Liu, I've not seen Lucy Liu in a film in years. Lucy Liu, obviously one of my most, I love Lucy Liu as an action actress. I think she's brilliant. I think she's one of the best out there. I loved her in those early 2000s Charlie's Angels films, even though I didn't like the second one. I did like that original McGee film. I love her in Kill Bill. She's been in loads of stuff, but I haven't seen her in a film in a very long time, so I'm looking forward to see Lucy Liu back on the big screen again. I don't think it's been announced what character she's going to play. Let me just double check this, guys. I don't know if it's been announced what character she's playing, but I know she's definitely been cast in the film. I'm looking forward to see her in the film. Like I said, I haven't seen Lucy Liu in a film in so long. And I'm sure she's pushing 50 now as well. So it's gonna be it's gonna be weird seeing her in this film. Right. She's been cast as the villain Calypso, which is the sister of the character that Helen Mirren plays, Hespera. So she's going to be related. She's going to be the sister of the main villain that Helen Mirren plays. I don't know how they're going to be sisters. One's Chinese and the other is white British. So that's going to be interesting. Unless one of them's doing a CGI type of thing. I mean, that could be a possibility. But look, it's a comic book film, right? You got to sense of reality doesn't really set in stone when you're talking about a comic book film. You have to let your imagination go a little bit. And look, casting Lucy Liu is brilliant in anything. I think she's a really good actress. She's great in action scenes. So it'll be good to see what she can bring to this film. I'm looking forward to see her with Zachary Levi and Helen Mirren and the rest of the cast, how they work off each other. I'm actually looking forward to see this Shazam film. I'm very much looking forward to it. I liked that first Shazam film, but it wasn't I didn't think it was amazing. A lot of people saying now it's one of the best films around, but I didn't really think that highly of it. I liked it, but I didn't love it. The cast for this is really building my expectations up. So obviously we'll have to see what this film ends up being like when it gets released. I think it gets released in 2023. So it's a while away yet, but look, the way the time's going, this film will be here before it. We'll get our trailers and posters and character descriptions and more information about this film comes out in the future. I'm looking forward to see what her role will be moving forward with this film. We know the character she's playing, how influential she'll be, how much she'll be in the film. We don't know that yet, but just to have her there is going to be good enough for me. I love Lucy Liu, so that's a massive piece of news. What do you guys think about Lucy Liu being cast in Shazam 2? Do you think she'll bring a lot to the film? Do you think she'll be in the film a lot? Let me know, guys, and we'll have a little discussion about that at the end of the show. Right, getting on to the second to last topic today, guys. Topic number 5. The 6 topics all today. So, topic number 5 that I want to talk about today, guys, is finally, Paramount Pictures have announced a new Star Trek film coming to a cinema near you in 2023. Oh my God, this film. I thought personally that Paramount had kind of given up on their main Star Trek series, right? I just felt that they'd given up on it. Right, the last film that we had was Star Trek Beyond, which came out in 2016. Wasn't a massive box office hit, right? It was very liked by critics, very much liked by fans. it just didn't do massive business for Paramount. And obviously, look, this is a studio that needs big hitters, right? Obviously, they have films coming out round the corner, but look, they need big hitters, especially like the Transformers films aren't around right now. We had Bumblebee, but those main series of films were really huge for Paramount for a long time. We don't have them anymore. So really, they don't have much. But this Star Trek thing, look, we don't know much about it, right? It's been produced by J.J. Abrams, who obviously directed the first 2 Star Trek films. I don't think he did Star Trek Beyond, but I know he directed the Star Trek reboot in 2009, and he also directed its sequel, Star Trek Into Darkness. So, look, it's good to see him coming back to this Star Trek universe. Obviously, he's had a lot of involvement in the Star Wars universe in the past few years, so it's good to see him coming back to do this. Like I said, it's been a long time since we've got that Star Trek sequel. The last one was like 2016 in Star Trek Beyond. So it was a while ago. I actually haven't seen Star Trek Beyond yet. I do want to see. I just haven't got round to seeing it, right? There's all these new films coming out, and some films just kind of pass you by. But I'll definitely watch this before I see this new Star Trek film. I don't know how this is going to affect the Quentin Tarantino Star Trek film, right? The Quentin Tarantino Star Trek film that he's been talking about wanting to do for years. I don't know if that affects that by any way. I'm not too sure. But to know that they're going into a production of this Star Trek film just gives me a massive peace of mind, because again, people have been asking about this for years now. Star Trek's kind of been doing very well, making a very, very good name for itself on streaming services, right? They have the Picard series on Amazon Prime, which is doing very, very well. The Picard series. So to go back to this most recent cinematic universe that they have for Star Trek is going to be interesting to see how this series continues. I'm pretty certain Chris Pine will come back. I'd be very surprised if he doesn't. So it'll be good to see Did I say Chris Pine, sorry. Yeah, it'll be good to see Chris Pine come back. I'm presuming Simon Pegg will come back in some capacity. I'm sure Carl Urban and all those guys will come back. So I'm interested to see how they approach this new story for Star Trek. I'm interested to see what director they're going to get. The screenwriters, will Simon Pegg write the new screenplay? Will he work with J.J. Abrams? It's going to be interesting to see, guys. But let me know, what do you think of this new Star Trek film coming out? Are you looking forward to it? Are you not really looking forward to it? Do you care either way? Did you enjoy Star Trek Beyond? Leave your thoughts, guys, in the live chat. Right, getting on to the last topic today, guys. Topic number 6, and that is talking about a couple bits of release date changes. It was announced a few days ago that Paramount Pictures, obviously, who were very close with Tom Cruise and a lot of the films he does, are changing the release dates for 2 of his upcoming, very highly anticipated films, Top Gun Maverick and Mission Impossible 7. Now, Top Gun Maverick, which obviously is the sequel to the 1986 film, the big cult film Top Gun, right, which a lot of people like. I know my fiance's mom is a massive fan of Top Gun, so I'm pretty sure she's going to be looking forward to watch that. The film was originally scheduled to be released in July this year. So it was meant to come out, well, it was obviously meant to come out I think last year, but due to COVID, it's been pushed back. Its most recent release date was July 2021. That's now been pushed back to November 19, 2021. So it'll be released closer to the end of this year. I'm pretty sure this is just general schedule changes, whether they want to wait for cinemas to reopen properly so they can properly capitalise on more people in the cinema, so they can have a bigger opening weekend and a better life, a better lifetime during their course of being open in the cinemas, right, during its cinematic release. That's probably a strong possibility. I doubt it's for anything like reshoots, or if it's to, go back and fix a few things. I don't think that's the case. I just think due to COVID, they just want to kind of have the best possible opportunity they can to make the biggest box office return possible. And I think by doing this, it's a very smart move. Also, what they've done is they've moved Mission Impossible 7. Now, Mission Impossible 7 was originally scheduled to be released on the date that Top Gun Maverick has taken. So, Mission Impossible 7 was supposed to be released on the 19th of November this year, but obviously now Top Gun Maverick has took the place of that, so that means Mission Impossible 7 has now moved to the 22nd of May 2022, so that is moved to the middle of next year. So it comes out May next year, so it's moved about 6-7 months from its original release date. Again, I don't think this is due to anything like reshoots or production problems. I just personally think this is down to the fact that they want to capitalise on the best possible opportunity of making the biggest box office return they can. I think it's very smart by Paramount to do this, right? Paramount don't have many big franchises. They don't have really many successful big budget properties that they have. So it's kind of tricky for them, really. Look, they want to make the most possible. Right, Disney can take their risks releasing things on Disney Plus on Premier Access, and Warner Brothers have HBO Max. Paramount are very much reliant on their cinematic releases for box office return and for financial profit. So I think moving the Top Gun sequel and moving Mission Impossible 7, I think is a brilliant business decision. It gets a longer time as well for promotion. Like, I don't really think these films have been promoted very well so far, considering that both of them was due to be released this year. I don't really feel like they've been promoted very well. Mainly probably due to COVID, right? But what we have seen from them, especially from Top Gun Maverick, which we've seen more of than we have than Mission Impossible 7, obviously, I haven't been too excited from what I've seen. I've liked what I've seen from Top Gun Maverick, but it hasn't really drawn me in. So it gets more time for them to push the film and promote the film and try to get more awareness about that as well. And also the same goes for Mission Impossible 7. Gives them more time to promote that. Aim for a release next year where, you know, cinemas will be back in business, fingers crossed. And let's hope we don't go into another lockdown. So fingers crossed that can kind of capitalise on the biggest, the bigger box office potential being released next year. So guys, thank you very, very much for watching the podcast today. I hope you've enjoyed it. It's been fun to go back and do this podcast again because, like I said, I haven't been able to do a podcast for a while now, going back to work and stuff. So it's nice to be back in front of the camera, being live for you guys if you're watching this on YouTube or whether you're listening to this on Spotify or SoundCloud. I'm very, very grateful that you've decided to join me today. I hope you've had a great time. I know I have. I love coming and like I say, I love coming and doing this podcast. It's great for me. It's fun for me. There's nothing much I love. Not many things I love more in the world than coming here and talking about movies with you guys. So I've had a blast. I hope you guys have had a blast. Make sure you subscribe to my YouTube channel if you haven't already. Click the notifications bell as well so you never miss a future video. And also, guys, make sure you follow my SoundCloud and my Spotify accounts. The links are in the description down below if you only want to listen to audio-only versions of this podcast rather than listening to video or watching video, right? If you want, you can go to Spotify, you can download the podcast. That'll save on data usage. You can, listen to it offline if you'd rather do that. So those options are there, guys, if you prefer to do that. Like I said, head into the description down below and you'll find the links for my Spotify and my SoundCloud. Also, on my SoundCloud, if you would wish to donate to the podcast, if you could donate anything, that would be more than welcome. There is a PayPal Me link on my SoundCloud account that you can go and donate to the podcast. That would be more than welcome as well. You don't have to. I always say this, you don't have to if you don't want to. But the option is there if you wish to, guys. So I'd appreciate that. But like I said, I'm not forcing you. I just like talking about films. If I can make anything off it, then that's great. But I just love coming here and talking about films. It's fun. It's enjoyable. And also I get to keep you guys in the loop of what is going on out there in the big wide world of movies, right? So thank you very much for watching me, guys. I hope you've enjoyed the show. Like I said, if you have, please subscribe, please hit the like, share the video around, share it with your friends if they like to talk about films and they're interested in film, and get this community, the YMB Movie Talk community, going. We have 18 subscribers now on YouTube, so we've gone from like 6 to 18 in the space of like 2 weeks or 3 weeks, whatever it's been. So thank you for all the support that I've got so far. Thank you for all the likes and the shares that you've been giving. I really appreciate it. And fingers crossed, by the end of the year, I've set myself a goal. By the end of the year, I want to get to at least 100 subscribers. That's my goal. So make that goal happen, guys. Share the podcast around. Share it around wherever you can. If I can get 100 subscribers by the end of the year, I will be flying, mate. I swear to God, I'll be very, very happy. So yeah, guys, thank you very much for watching, and I'll see you very, very soon.